Welcome to Game Show 1939. We've discovered a trove of trivia books dating way back to the 1930s, and we've turned them into a game show. How will today's contestants, Gabriel and Jake, handle questions that only their grandmothers, or maybe their great-grandmothers, would know the answers to? Hey, listener, what about you? Are you gonna know the answer? Well, let's find out. Here's your host, Chris!
Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, audience. Thank you, listeners, for joining us for a live episode of Game Show 1939, recorded live in Passage's Bookshop in Portland, Oregon, live before a live audience. I cannot stress enough that we are alive. And alive with me right now are two contestants here who will be given a gauntlet of questions, all taken from actual trivia books published in the actual 1930s. Some of the answers in those books have changed since then. Some of the answers were never right to begin with. But for today's quiz, the officially correct answer is whatever was written in the book. Mikey, what are our contestants playing for this evening?
Well, Chris, they're playing for a gift certificate to Sorry, I had a bunch of time gunk in my throat. They're playing for a gift certificate to Passage's Bookshop right here in Portland, Oregon. In fact, it's where you're sitting.
Oh, how convenient and how lovely.
Oh, there are steaks.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes. We want to see blood from you. All right. Well, I forgot to do a coin flip. What's okay, Gabriel? You're going to go first. It's fine. First up, we have Gabriel here. Gabriel is a visual artist with an interest in water use. He paints pictures that would look great above your commode. And you can decide for yourself. You can go to his website later on at lastwater.net and check out his fabulous artwork. Thank you for joining us. Everybody give a little warm round of applause for Gabriel. Gabriel, you've listened to the show before. What topics are you hoping to get tonight?
I had the topic I was hoping for, which is watching Mikey actually do that. It's killing me. I'm going to try and figure out how to get him to do it again.
Okay.
It's not hard. Throw the show.
And you will be competing up against Jake. Jake is a translation supervisor and a musician from Clackamas County, Oregon. Everybody welcome Jake. Jake, what 1930s trivia questions are you hoping not to see this evening?
I'm hoping not to hear things about 1939 talking movies.
No promises.
Okay.
Okay, let us begin with the first of our 7 rounds this evening. Gabriel won the pretend coin toss that I pretended to throw right as I was doing the introduction. Oopsie. So he'll be in control for round 1. Gabriel, I'm going to give you 3 questions, 3 categories rather. One of those categories you're going to keep, one you're going to pass to Jake, and the last one we're going to set aside for a while. The categories, by the way, I came up with. They're not from the 30s. People get confused. I'm just going to let you know right now. Okay.
It's his cute little names.
Yeah. If you get your question right, you're going to get 1 point. If Jake gets the question right in the category that you foisted upon him, he'll get 2 points.
You forgot to say that I get the final decision.
Right.
But I didn't have to because Mikey's happy to let you know that. We will go into round 1. We are recording this live in a bookshop, and so why not begin with some literary questions? Gabriel, the categories for round 1 are authors, settings, and characters. Which would you like to answer, and which would you like to watch Jake try to answer?
I'm going to try for settings, and Jake can handle characters.
Okay, great. We'll start with you. Settings. Question is, what novel is set in Catfish Row, Charleston?
Oh. I'm broken. No, I've got nothing. We'll say Cat on a Hot Tin Roof because that's a play, not a novel. That's the only thing that's coming to mind.
It does say cat.
It does say cat, but it also says play.
Charleston. I haven't read anything set in Charleston.
Oh, all right. Well, for no points, but for some glory, Jake, do you know the answer?
I'm just the Charleston Choo-Choo.
Famed. Yeah, they was such a popular novel, they turned it into a candy bar. The answer was Porgy by Dubose Hayward.
Oh.
Really, it's Hayward and his wife, Dorothy, who did a lot of helping on such things and helped him adapt it into a play a few years later. The novel came out in 1925, play came out in 27, and then they worked with George Gershwin to adapt it into an opera, Porgy and Bess, in 1935. Catfish Row, based on an actual tenement site in Charleston known as Cabbage Row. And Porgy was based on an actual disabled man named Samuel Smalls, who traveled around in a cart pulled by a goat, earning him the nickname Goat Cart Sam, which is a great nickname. Smalls died the year before the novel came out. The Haywards, of course, were white. Smalls was black. But a lot of the black intelligentsia seem to think that the Haywards did a reasonably okay job. Modern critics may disagree, but I don't know. I'm not going into that. I haven't read the book or even seen the opera. I know that one song, though. I love
Are you waiting for us to sing it? Are you waiting for us to sing
No,
it?
we can't clear the rights for that. Jake, for 2 points, you've been given the category of characters.
That's good. I'm into characters.
Good. Can you please tell me who was the first detective in English fiction?
The first detective in English fiction. Boy, it's probably a softball if I'd ever read detective books. There's somebody before Sherlock Holmes is Marlowe something? This is one of those things that I feel like I've learned from the back of Trivial Pursuit cards, but not actually. Whatever, Marlowe.
I think Marlowe comes later.
Okay.
But no. Gabriel.
All I've got is Scarlet Pimpernel.
Oh, okay. You should see a doctor about that.
There's a vaccine now.
So the answer in the book is Sergeant Cuff from The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins.
Actually, yeah.
That's not a good answer.
It's a good book. It's a good book.
For example, there is C. Auguste Dupin in Poe's The Murders in the Rue Morgue from 1841, which is significantly before 1869 when the Wilkie Collins book comes out. There's a few fictional memoirs by a guy named William Russell. There's Louisa May Alcott wrote a detective thriller novel called VV, or Plots and Counterplots.
Wait, what? Okay.
And Meta Fuller Victor's The Dead Letter is the first full-length crime novel from 1867. And in Dickens, you'll find a few detectives in a few chapters, though none of them are full detective novels. Oh, gosh, there's even more. There's some from the UK by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, who wrote a bunch of detective fiction. And then you get Sherlock Holmes in 1887, well after the Moonstone and so forth. And then I think Marlowe's from the 20s or 30s, I think. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in this. Didn't look that one up. I had a list.
You didn't expect that bad of an answer?
Yeah. All right. Well, after round one, Mikey, tell us what the scores are.
Well, you're both at 0 points.
Okay. Game Show 1939 is like certain games of professional level soccer. It's always impressive to see any scoring action.
This is just, the action's tight.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in round two, we switch over to the other person. Jake, you are in control. We've got some things to talk about in this round. The categories are delicate things, limpid things, and graceful things. Which
Delicate, limpid, or graceful?
Yes. Which would you like to answer?
I'm kind of all, but I'm going to go for graceful because I'm swan-like.
Okay. Okay. And which are you going to pass?
I will pass. I'll give you the delicate,
All right.
Okay. For 1 point, your graceful things question, you said you were choosing it because you were very swan-like.
Awfully swan-like.
Well, who made the ballet The Swan famous?
The Swan. Who made the ballet The Swan famous?
Yes.
Oh, holy gosh.
I know you're a big fan of the ballet.
I'm a huge fan of 30s ballet answers. I'm going to go for, is Nijinsky a word that pertains to ballet? Because I'm clearly that delicate.
It is, I do believe, but it's not the one we're looking for.
Okay.
For some glory.
Seize the glory, Gabriel.
We're just going to say Tchaikovsky, because that's all we got.
Well, that's a composer, and we're
Yeah, I
looking
know.
for a dancer.
Dancing. Oh.
Though I'm sure he danced in his spare time.
Yes.
Beba?
What's her name with the flappy wings?
Natalie Portman.
The Swan.
Oh, not Natalie Portman. Rodin's buddy.
Rodin.
Louis Fuller. Louis Fuller?
Oh, I think I know who you're trying to say,
Yeah.
but it's not them.
No, okay.
No, it is Anna Pavlova.
Oh,
Yes.
not just for pastries.
Well, so yes, so you know a little bit about the pastries. Can you tell me what the pastry is?
Isn't the pavlova the one that's like a bunch of stacked cream puffs?
Yeah, it's basically a slab of meringue with some fruit on top.
Okay.
And
Oh,
they,
wait, no.
they pronounce that pavlova because, I don't know, it's really popular in Australia and New Zealand. You can write your own joke. Pavlova was a prima ballerina at the Imperial Russian Ballet and the Ballet Russe under Diaghilev, whose name I always pronounce wrong. And The Dying Swan, or The Swan, is her most famous work, and it was choreographed by a guy whose name is, and I get to say this without it being bleeped, Michel Fokine. 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 But this is also the bonus bonanza question. So this was Jake's question. So for one extra bonus point,
Oh, boy.
the question that I wrote to add on to this: what classical piece of music was the Dying Swan danced to?
The Dying Swan. Is like Carnival of the Animals? Let's just say that.
That's correct.
Yes!
It is the Swan from Carnival of the Animals.
Oh my gosh. I played one of those Carnival of the Animals things as an upright bass solo back in high school, but I forget which one it was. It's like maybe the llama or something.
That's a heck of a carnival. It's got a lot on display. Yes, it's a 4-minute long piece that debuted in 1905. She was also supposed to dance in Fokine's choreography for Stravinsky's Firebird, but she thought it was a little too spicy. Excellent. Well, we've got our first point on the board. Congratulations.
That is so exciting from up here. I can't even tell you.
Great. Delicate Things was what was being passed over to Gabriel. Gabriel, what is the most delicate organ of touch?
Wait. Like,
Use mouth.
yeah. My first thought is the inner ear, but that's not technically an organ of touch. It just vibrates when sound touches it. So, yeah, I'm gonna say tongue because I don't want to say eyeball.
Fair enough. Mikey, I'm going to go to you for adjudication.
Tongue is absolutely acceptable to me. It is specifically the tip of the tongue.
Ooh.
The
yeah.
teeth and lips.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait.
No, just the tip of the tongue. I'm sorry.
Sorry, live with one of those. Don't do that to me.
Theater kid instincts, they're really hard to suppress.
So delicate's a really tricky word because what the heck does that mean? Right. There's a few different ways that things can be delicate or able to sort of distinguish different things. There's a much cited study from the 1960s that looked at a few different types of measurement. Pressure, like how much pressure before you feel it. The 2-point thing, which is, am I touching you with 2 little pinpricks or 1? And point localization. Can you, if I put a dot on the wall, can you touch it with your tip of your tongue, the tip of your nose, other sensitive things? The nose is best at the pressure. The middle finger is, generally speaking, best at the 1 or 2 things. And the index finger is the best for pointing, as you might imagine. But this varies quite a lot over different people. And basically, I don't know. There was a weird study that I looked at from the Ohio State University in 2019, which tested using these 3D models that they printed of various like little tiny pieces of. They were basically slopes between. Like imagine a little tiny staircase, and then you've got like a 90-degree stair, but then you have it all the way out to like a 45-degree stair, and like, can you tell which one your tongue is feeling? It's pretty good for a lot of people, it turns out. So
Did receive a grant.
that is useful.
The staircase licking, that was what it was.
How do you not?
Yeah,
on staircase
people were better
looking?
at it generally with their tongues than with their fingers.
I just can't stop thinking about touching dots on the wall with my tongue. It's washing everything out.
That's for the after party.
All right. At the end of round 2, what is the score, Mikey?
Oh, we've blown it wide open. It's 2-1. Gabriel in the lead.
All right. Amazing. Okay, this is now on to round 3, which is the pen and paper round. I'm going to ask you both to write answers down to this, and then we will reveal them. The question, it's going to be name the authors of the following books.
Oh, boy.
You'll get 1 point for each correct answer, and there will be 4 of them.
4.
Okay. So the first one is The Tale of a Tub. The Tale of a Tub. We'll need the author of that. The second one is A Few Figs from Thistles. A Few Figs from Thistles. The third one is Doctor in Spite of Himself. Doctor in Spite of Himself.
Wow.
And the fourth one is, of course, Epipsychidion. Epipsychidion.
Epipsychidion.
Epipsychidion. One word.
Epipsychidion.
Epipsychidion.
Kids go nuts for the great taste of Epipsychidion.
All right.
Epipsychidion.
Have you all finished writing down all 4 of your answers?
Almost. Having a toss up here.
Wow.
Well, you have to pick one. One and only one, I'm afraid.
Boy.
That's not who I was thinking of writing it down anyway.
Pick one of those. That's the whole
Okay.
point of writing it down.
All right.
Okay, great. Jake, what did you get for The Tale of a Tub?
The answers to most of these questions are going to be Beatrix Potter because I found that very funny.
Oh, yeah.
You're not the first contestant to try this strategy for this round.
Yeah, the Potter
We'll
strategy.
see if you're as successful as the last one was.
I want to find that book.
Gabriel, what did you put down for The Tale of a Tub?
Ogden Nash.
The answer is, in fact, A Tale of a Tub. The trivia book got the title a little wrong. Was the first major work by Jonathan Swift.
Oh.
It is a satire about the various branches of Christianity. Funny. I don't know. I haven't read it. Maybe it's all right. A Few Figs from Thistles. Jake?
I would say the answer to this question is Beatrix Potter.
Okay.
That's more plausible.
Huxley. Whatever that dude's name was.
Aldous Huxley?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. No.
Not Huxley, but...
Yeah, no.
Huxley. There's Aldous Huxley, but who's the...
Beatrix Huxley.
Anyway, okay.
Beatrix
I said
X
Huxley. I wrote
Huxley.
down Huxley.
Yeah, no, it's Edna St. Vincent Millay. It's one of her collections of poetry, and it's
boy.
most famous. Well, it's got several of her greatest hits in it, including a poem that goes like this.
My candle burns at both ends, it will not last the night. But ah, my foes, and oh, my friends, it gives a lovely light.
That's where the candle burning at both ends comes from.
I'm never going to get a residency there. I stumbled on her house the other day.
Did you stub your toe?
No. I got kind of lost in
Is
the
it
back roads.
here?
No, it's somewhere between Massachusetts and New York, and
Yeah.
this weird... Yeah, anyway.
How was
Hartford.
how was the thistle content?
Too early for thistles.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. Doctor in Spite of Himself. We're going with Beatrix?
We are going with Beatrix. I'm riding with Beatrix.
Okay, solid.
Ride or die.
Gabriel, we have this one?
Thurber?
No, it is a farce by Molière. Le Médecin Malgré Lui, The Doctor in Spite of Himself, first performed in 1666. For all of you people who love the number 6.
Jake, we should have just been looking around behind us. I mean, we're almost right in front of Malay.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But you would have to have known that it was Malay in order to find.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Finally, Epipsychidion.
I went with Shaw because I didn't want to do Potter for a 4th time.
Fair enough.
Aristophanes.
Yeah, no, it was Beatrix. No. It was, of course, a ponderous work by Percy Bysshe Shelley.
Oh, there we go.
It's a book-length poem, a meditation on true love and a celebration of free love. Published in 1821. By 1822, he was already finding it a bit cringe. All right. Well, that was a very successful round 3. What are the scores,
Literature.
Mikey?
Well, it amused me, but unfortunately, that's not worth any points. We are still at 2-1, Gabriel leading Jake.
Okay. So who is behind right now? That's
Jake is
I believe.
behind.
So Jake, you get to decide whether you want to be in control for this round or if you want to pass it on to Gabriel and take the next round. This time the categories are contemporary men, fashionable women, and kissers.
So I get to decide whether to pass or whether to play, so to
You
speak.
get to decide whether you can, whether to pass or whether to let Gabriel choose this and you get to choose the next round.
I will Alan Ludden style pass to Gabriel on this one.
Wonderful. Gabriel, you get to choose then which you take and which you pass to Jake.
I'll take Kissers, and we'll pass Contemporary Men to Jake.
Okay. We will start with Kissers for 1 point. Who kissed the girls and made them cry?
Georgie, Porgy, Pudding, and Pie.
That's correct.
If we just had a nursery rhyme show, I'd be good.
I do love how occasionally there's a real dead simple question in amongst all the nonsense.
Yeah, but if you don't know that, you really don't understand this question. Georgie Porgy, Pudding and Pie kissed the girls and made them cry. When the girls came out to play, Georgie Porgy ran away. Do you know about when this is from or where it's from? I know you have an interest in this sort of thing.
I don't. I don't know if this is from Father Gander or from Mother Goose.
It's from neither. It is from a book called The Kentish Coronal from 1841.
Write this down.
Some variants appear in other books, but the more interesting question for me is, why does this rhyme exist? Like, it's a weird one. What do you think is the sort of function and purpose of this rhyme?
I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I never came up with a hard answer.
I think all nursery rhymes are about some plague or other, right?
So people have argued that it's about the plague of royalty, that it's about King George. That is almost certainly not true. It is instead about the plague of abusing your fellow children.
Yeah.
You get to use it to make fun of people for being overweight, for being named George, for liking a girl, for liking a boy. It's just a terrible poem that people use for terrible ends. So that's nursery rhymes for you. Jake, you get Contemporary Men.
Contemporary Men.
Which of the following are contemporaries?
All right.
All right. A, Ethelbert Nevin.
What?
B, Robert Edwin Peary. Or C, Stephen Foster. Which of those are contemporaries?
I feel like there's like 2/3 of that sentence missing. I'm going to go with B because my fortunate letter is B, as in always choose to sleep on the balcony. So I'm going to go with B.
And which of the other ones do you think he's contemporary?
Oh, contemporaries.
with?
I'm going to go with B and C because always choose.
Unfortunately, your system has led you astray.
It was such a foolproof
Do you
system.
know the answer, Gabriel?
I was going to guess, what's the first one? Ethel?
Ethelbert Nevin.
Ethelbert. Okay, I'm going to say Ethelbert Nevin and Stephen Foster.
Nope. It's the other two. Ethelbert Nevin and Robert Edwin Peary. Do you know who any of these three people are, Jake?
Oh, heavens no.
Was Peary the Explorer?
Peary was the
Oh,
explorer.
it was Peary. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's spelled like Peary, and apparently, according to trusted and beloved source Wikipedia, it is pronounced Peary and not Harry, as I always heard. Who knows?
And Foster was the dude from the white dude from Philadelphia who stole all the black music and published it under his own name.
musician.
Yeah, so he did. What are some of the songs?
I don't think we're allowed to say them anymore.
You don't have to say those, but you can say some of the other ones. Yeah. Hard Times Come Again No More. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that.
Good.
It's a good one. It's the good one. Camptown Races, Oh Susanna, Old Folks at Home, Swanee River,
right.
Beautiful Dreamer, all of those songs.
Is Golden Slippers his?
Probably. He did a lot. So Peary was the one who, what did Peary do? He was an explorer. What did he do? What is he known for?
Wasn't he North Pole?
He said he was.
Said he was. I don't remember. All my people are in Antarctica.
Yeah, there's been a lot of doubts, both then and now that he actually made it.
It's all Amundsen, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. And who is Ethelbert Nevin?
No idea.
Yeah.
He's an American pianist and composer. He was most famous for composing the music to a song in African American dialect called Mighty Like a Rose, words by someone else, which Bing Crosby, Nina Simone, Paul Robeson, and Petula Clark have all sung.
So did my dad.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. We could just sit and do that one.
There you go.
We're not going to.
He died very shortly after composing the song. So, yes, Ethelbert and Peary were both alive in 1900. And Stephen Foster died in 1864. So that's the contemporary issue. Okay, Mikey, scores after round 4.
Right. Well, after that thrilling round, I was thrilled. Gabriel has 3 points and Jake has 1.
Okay, Jake,
boy.
you are in control now as we go into round 5 and we go back to literature.
Good lord.
Categories are authors, poets, and masterpieces.
Oh boy, I mean, I can't not go with masterpieces.
Okay, and which will you pass along?
I'll go with just authors. That seems specific, generic enough that it's probably difficult.
Excellent. Okay, so for 1 point, Jake, masterpieces. In what masterpiece, written by a 9-year-old girl, is Mr. Saltina the hero?
For the podcast listeners, I dropped my Sharpie in dismay. In what masterpiece written by a 9-year-old girl is Mr. Saltina?
Mr. Salteena.
Oh my gosh.
The hero.
Wow, I'm going to say The History of Mr. Tubb.
By?
That was by, I'm looking at my, Jonathan Swift.
Jonathan Swift, beloved 9-year-old girl authoress. Weirdly enough, that's wrong. For the glory, but for no points, Gabriel. Do you know the answer to this one?
Shirley Temple. I don't know.
No. It's a book called The Young Visitors by Daisy Ashford. Daisy Ashford, who was born in 1881 and died in 1972, was 9 years old when she wrote The Young Visitors, which she rediscovered many years later and shared with some of her friends, who then, of course, published it, with all the 9-year-old spelling involved still in it.
Yeah.
I feel you should indicate that it's spelled visitors.
Yeah, visitors, ERS at the end. There's a preface by J.M. Barrie, the person who wrote Peter Pan, and there was a rumor that he had written it, but nope. The story is about a guy named Alfred Saltina, who is described in the opening sentence as an elderly man of 42. And he gets involved in a love triangle. The book was very successful and very popular, and was made into a film in 1984 starring Tracy Ullman.
Wait.
Yep.
Write that down.
Yep.
Was Saltina in the title?
Yeah, I think so.
Whoa.
I think so. Yeah. You can find the text on Gutenberg. I don't know if David's got a copy in the shop here, but there you go. For 2 points, Gabriel, we're going to do your question, and the category was authors, and the question is: who wrote "He Who Gets Slapped"?
He who gets slapped.
He Who Gets Slapped.
P.J. Woodhouse. That's on
It
my
is
mind.
not P.G. Woodhouse. Jake, do you have any idea about this one?
He Who Gets Slapped. It was by either Punch or Judy.
It was by Leonid Andreev, a Russian playwright who died in 1919. He wrote a book called, okay, let's try this. Let's back up slowly and say this Russian phrase. Tot, kto plushet pashochini in 1915. It is his most famous play both in Russia and abroad, and it was made into the first ever film produced by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in 1924, starring Lon Chaney as the unnamed protagonist, who's a clown in a circus whose gimmick is that he gets slapped by all the other clowns. Apparently it's pretty good if you're into that sort of thing. I don't know, I haven't watched it. But yes, He Who Gets Slapped.
Wow.
All right. That is the end of round 5. Where are we with the scores, Mikey?
Well, nothing has changed. I'm sorry to report. Gabriel is with 3 and Jake is with 1.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on to the very exciting round 6. Round 6 celebrates the fact that some of these trivia books include a category of what they call conundrums, and what they mean are really bad jokes.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to give you the question. You get to come up with what you think is the funniest answer, and we'll see if you can come up with something funnier than what the 1930s authors came up with.
This is the artistic program.
This is for no points, but for endless glory.
Oh my gosh.
And this is for both of you, of course, because it's for no points. If all of the letters of the alphabet were asked to go out to dinner, why couldn't they all go together?
Oh, we have to say the names of the letters of the alphabets in our heads while we're thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah, if all the letters of the alphabet were asked to go out to dinner, why couldn't they all go together?
And clearly the only answer is because 7, 8, 9.
I know, that's all I can think of.
That is one of my favorite jokes ever. But,
Oh my god.
do you have a little answer for this?
QRSTV? No.
All right, everybody.
I can't think on demand.
Everybody in the audience has figured it out already.
Oh dear.
This is a real poser.
If all the letters of the alphabet were asked to go out to dinner, why couldn't they all go together? Because 6 of them always go after tea. For those of you who don't know, tea is another term for dinner, early dinner for some people. So,
This is my least favorite part of the show.
well, it's a little bit of a breather before we go back on track. Now we have entered the 7th and final round, and we're going to look at the remaining questions, the ones that you passed earlier. And this time, the person who's in second place is going to get first crack at the question. If you get it right, you get 2 points. If you get it wrong, your opponent can swoop in and get 1 point. Very exciting. If the opponent then is in the lead, or if lead switches, then the person who needs to catch up gets to take control of the questions. All right? There are 4 questions in the pile. Who's behind, Mikey?
That would be Jake.
Okay, Jake, you're going to get the first crack on it. What was the first category that we skipped over? It was authors for 2 points.
All right.
Who wrote Jean-Christophe?
Jean-Christophe. No, let's go for Rousseau.
Rousseau.
And it sounded good on the microphone.
It's good. It's very French. It was a lovely R. No, that's not it. Gabriel, for 1 point, can you steal it away?
Victor Hugo?
No, it was a guy named Romain Rolland. 2 R's.
Casually flexing your R's.
I spent a lot of time in college learning French, kind of. So Jean-Christophe was a novel published in 10 books from 1904 to 1912. It won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1915, which is why we all know it and remember it today. It follows the life of Jean-Christophe Kraft, a Belgian-German composer from his birth to his death, with plenty of time for digressions along the way. Roland referred to his work as a roman fleuve, a river novel, which has become a term for long and discursive novels that attempt to kind of sum up an age or something like that, such as...
What, huh?
Such as other books that are long and discursive and try to sum up their age, like Proust's In Remembrance of Things Past, a few other things like that. Some people have described Patrick O'Brien's Aubrey Maturin novels, the Master and Commander novels, as being kind of like that. So, I haven't read them, but...
My kid just tried reading the first one, and she would agree.
Yeah.
She's not reading anymore.
Oh, man. So many of my friends have gone down that rabbit hole the last couple of years. But what can I say? Yeah, big novel. I don't know if there's a copy available here or not. Jake, you are still in control because you're still behind, so we get to go to limpid things.
Oh, I love limpid things.
Yes. Well, tell me this. Tell me true. It's a multiple choice.
Okay.
Is defecating a pool A, polluting it, B, purifying it, C, making it into 2 pools?
So, is defecating a pool?
Yes.
Could I get the answers again,
Of course. Is defecating a pool polluting it, purifying it, or making it into 2 pools?
Chris, I have a 6-year-old, and I'm going to say this is a poop joke, so A.
That is incorrect.
Oh, it was
Gabriel
the
for
Deva.
1 point.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to know. It's too beautiful a question. I'm going to say B.
B is correct.
Yes.
To defecate is to
spell.
defecesify yourself.
Oh, God.
So you defecate into the toilet, but you are
beautiful.
defecating yourself.
Oh my God.
Wow. I feel like I stepped into something there.
It's my happy place. You stepped into my happy place.
This was in a trivia question book from the 30s. And I was as delighted as anyone for that.
Wow.
You weren't as delighted as me. Oh my God. That's
So that was 1 more point for Gabriel, so I believe Jake is still behind. Jake, you get to get
sure am.
1 more question, but you still can win if you get both the questions right.
No pressure.
No pressure. Fashionable women. The question is,
boy.
where did tailor-made suits for women originate? Where?
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 Where did tailor-made suits for women? It's with an I or a Y?
It's with an I.
Darn it.
Made by tailors, not made by Tay-Tay.
Okay, darn it. Where did tailor-made suits for women? Oh, man alive. Let's just go with Paris.
No.
Dang it.
For 1 point, where were tailor-made suits for women? Where did they originate?
China?
I mean, nowadays maybe, but no. The answer that the book has is in England.
End of sentence.
They don't explain what the heck they're on about. Okay, so I had to do the work that they should have done for me. So men's tailored suits date to the 1600s, as do women's, arguably, with tailored riding suits. Samuel Pepys writes in his diary about seeing women in riding suits, which he finds very upsetting. In 1951...
1851.
Sorry, thank you. I'm very bad with centuries. That's why I was studying medieval history.
Lost in time.
In 1851, the Bloomer suit, designed by Elizabeth Smith Miller in New York City and named after...
What was her name? Alice Bloomer?
Amelia.
Amelia.
Bloomer, the person who invented comfortable women's undergarments that we now call bloomers. They named it in honor of her, and it was sort of a suit pants under a skirt, which you use while riding your bicycle. So that seemed nice. But are those suits like we recognize them today? Well, the first notable woman wearing a suit that looks like a suit that we would think of as a suit was Sarah Bernhardt in Paris.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the 1870s, and then by the 1910s, there was something called a suffragette suit, which was a sort of comfortable work clothes, not really suit-like, but that was becoming trendy. And then Coco Chanel started designing suits for women around World War I in Paris. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So unfortunately, you got a better answer than the book had. By 1933, Eleanor Roosevelt, the first lady at the time, had worn a suit at a public function, kind of forgetting that she was going to one. Like, oh, okay. And then, of course, around then, Marlene Dietrich showed us how it's done. Okay. Where are we at now with the scores? We've gone to the last question.
We have Gabriel at 4 points and Jake, I'm so sorry, with 1 point.
Okay, so you cannot win, but you may as well still try to get 2 points for this.
I'm going to try to seize glory here.
The category is poets.
Okay.
What was the name of Wordsworth's sister and constant companion?
I mean, was it Lucy? I know there's those Lucy poems, so I'm probably getting it wrong, but Lucy sounds like at least a respectable answer.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's better than Beatrix Potter. Or Jonathan Swift.
Oh, boy.
I would like to say those listening at home just missed a real face journey that Gabriel went on.
I'm sitting here failing Kate Beaton.
Kate Beaton is disappointed. She does know about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for 1 more point to slather on top of the rest of your points, Gabriel, do you know the answer to this? What is the name of Wordsworth's sister and constant companion?
I can't remember. Catherine?
Dorothy. Dorothy Wordsworth. Stayed by Wordsworth's side throughout his life, living with him even after he got married. She still stuck around, deciding that at the age of 31, she was far too old to be marriageable. She wrote quite a lot. She wrote a lot of diaries, but also wrote some poems, but seemed to express no interest in being an actual published public poet in that sense. So William felt free to borrow things from her. She wrote a journal entry that's quite lovely about some daffodils that he seems to have used to his own ends, and a few other things. Yeah, a lot of that going on. So that's Dorothy Wordsworth. She's worth checking out. But that brings us to the end of the game. Final tally of the scores, Mikey.
Well, the final tally of the scores. Let me see here. We have Gabriel with 4 points and Jake with 1.
All right, everybody, congratulations to Gabriel for winning the show. And as the winner tonight, you receive a gift certificate 1939, good right here in beautiful Passages Bookshop. Jake, as a consolation prize, you receive a gift certificate 1939 of equal value because, oh my God, winning sucks, but stakes are fun. Thank you once again for joining.
Thank you.
Game Show 1939 is a production of Megaphonic FM. Check out all of our fancy little shows at Megaphonic FM. no trivia was harmed in the making of this show. Also, for the folks coming up, we have Buy the Bywater bingo cards. Pick one up during intermission.
All right, one more time.